Someone told me to go fornicate myself. Idiot didn't know I was practicing for that for years.
Say what?
Hello there, Reddita here. Time for another multi-parter. Will it be a 2 or 3-parter? You will see soon enough. But for now, here is part 1 of. Wait real quick before the question, you know what I have to do. I'm sorry, I will be quick. If you like the video, like and subscribe. If you want to get notified about the daily upload, hit the bell. Okay, on with the video. Enjoy. r/askreddit. Has anyone ever challenged you to something you are an expert at without them knowing it? If so, how did it turn out for them? I once had a guy at a party try to lecture me about a particular topic. He quoted a paper about the topic and tried to explain it to me. I told him he was interpreting the sentence wrong, and he started belittling me for being too stupid to understand the topic, including calling other people over to witness my embarrassment. I stopped him and asked him who wrote the paper he was quoting. He didn't know, so I made him look it up on his phone. Turns out, to his great embarrassment, he was quoting me to me and was trying to explain to me what I meant in my own paper. I let him try to stammer his way out for a few minutes, then gave him my card and told him that he could call me if he ever wanted to fix his ignorance. Edit. Many people asking for the topic. Unfortunately, telling you that would mean revealing my true name. To give you an idea, it was a technical topic similar to the heartbleed thing. Media wrote about it. Got it wrong. I wrote a rebuttal paper. Got shared around the community and became sort of the go-to paper explaining the subject. I occasionally encounter anti-nuclear folks to try to converse with me about how nuclear energy is the worst thing that has ever happened to the world. What they don't know is that I have a master's degree in nuclear engineering. When I tell them, and then tell them that coal power releases more radiation into the atmosphere than nuclear, they tell me that I am biased and walk away. Edit. Well, this basically turned into an AMA. I will answer you guys questions, but I am at work right now, so don't expect immediate answers. I was pretty good at Gears of War. Gears of War 2 comes out and a kid at school was having a tourney at his house the weekend after the game released, and my buddy invited me over. The kid was talking so much shit the whole time, but mostly to me. Guess he didn't like me. I finally have had enough and said the typical 1v1 me bro, and we get to it. Execution mode on River, my best map. I was asked to leave his house by his dad after I won because I made his 16-year-old rage and put a hole into their wall. Edit. Holy fat balls, I sleep, go to work and come home to see that this thread and my comment blew the fuck up. At a BBQ last summer, my friend's nieces, kind of bratty little things, were playing on the trampoline. They were doing front flips and things. They challenged me to do what they were doing. Little did they know that I had 15 years of gymnastics and 6 years of trampolining history. I launched in with a straight double back somersault. That simultaneously impressed them and reminded me of the value of a good warm-up. I'm just waiting for that day someone challenges me to take the derivative of a function. In the Marine Corps they do a lot of wrestling grappling as training and exercise. Well, for a Marine I was a pretty unimposing looking person. Little did they know that I had been doing jiu-jitsu, a form of grappling, for about 4 or 5 years before joining. So more than a few times I would have these big weightlifter meathead types challenge me to grappling only for me to wipe the floor with them. It kind of became a joke once people caught on, and when we would get new guys to the unit, the guys in the know would trick them into grappling against me. Nerd moment. Someone once challenged my general knowledge of Batman and they were sorely mistaken. Mario Kart 64. This was back in college, and I didn't actually realize how good I was. I had spent countless hours in that game just messing around in all the levels, finding the silly little tricks you can do to shave off time, practicing my banana peel aim, and perfecting the art of the upside down question mark. Some guys in my dorm challenged me, and I was just like, sure. Wiped the floor. I was flabbergasted. They had been trash talking myself and each other, and at the end of the whole thing, they just stared at me like I was a monster before breaking out into holy shit-s. So they commenced in inviting their champ over to teach me a lesson. I just idly chatted the whole time while I lapped the guy on Rainbow Road. To his and everyone else's dismay, I don't even know. Most useless mastery ever? Edit. Spelling corrections, thanks. Swipe. And obligatory. This is my highest voted post. Incredulity. I was at a training class in Arizona a few years ago for people in a bunch of different industries. One guy was the head of quality for a particular and well-known winery in California. We all go out to dinner and this guy orders a fairly expensive glass of wine from his winery at a restaurant. They brought over the wine and when he sipped it, he let the waitress know that this was not the wine he ordered. She assured him it was and brought him another glass. Again. He insisted it was not the right wine. Finally, the manager came over and our guy revealed himself as head of quality for the winery. The manager stumbled trying to make up a poor reason and admitted they ran out and figured they would replace it with a very similar, and as it turns out much cheaper, wine. The look of smug satisfaction on our guy's face was priceless. Not me. But I remember a story of a kid whose dad was remodeling their garage and he was going over the drawings with the inspector who had a chip on his shoulder and was saying that the designs wouldn't work. The dad was disagreeing, saying that it would going back and forth. The dad then asks if he would improve it if he had a pay sign off on it. The inspector agrees and the dad goes inside and gets his pay stamp and stamps the drawing. Challenge per se. But I had a guy start speaking German to me in Australia once, so I answered him in kind. I was working in a ticket booth at the time and I assume he was either trying to make me look dumb, impress me or impress his friends. My German isn't great but I have enough that I could reply to him. His friends laughed. It felt good. Unfortunately, yes. It never turns out well because I make vaccines for a living. People posting on Facebook. New parents discussing why they don't want to vaccinate their newborns. Friends and relatives talking about the latest sensationalist story they heard on why big pharma is a terrible, evil conspiracy. I've been in the industry for 6 years now. Have an education in chemical engineering. I've worked with live infectious diseases, primarily pertussis and polio. Been part of the manufacturing process from growing the bacteria, inactivation, lysing, purification, vial filling, start to finish. I know how they work. What the history of how they used to be made is. How seriously pharma companies take adverse events, and I know firsthand how dangerous these diseases can be. But it doesn't matter because that picture that someone shared on Facebook with a sad story about their child dying obviously knows more than me. Even when I try to explain how it actually works, their eyes glaze over and nothing gets through. It's really frustrating having all the answers to every one of their concerns and not being able to reassure them because they're too stupid to understand basic biology. Not a challenge per se, but I'm a cricketer and when I went to the new club, I told everyone I was a fast bowler. I don't look the part though, 5 feet 8 inches and on the chubby side. Usually fast bowlers are lean and well over 6 feet, so naturally everyone thought I was gonna be a waste of time. Not only that, they all let me know that I should try out as a batsman or a spinner to improve my chances. The premier bowler in that club could bowl at speeds up to 135 kph on a good day. My first ball after a short warm-up clocked in at 132 kph. No one has dared make a joke about my height and body shape again. I was at a software engineering conference in January, and a colleague saw my terminal with pink text running Vim, a text editor for Unix systems, and said, "I bet you can't even exit out of that thing." Background: Vim is a tool that has a notoriously steep learning curve for beginners. I'm a woman doing a computer science degree, and I always make a point of not hiding toning down my love of doing hair, makeup, and dressing up. So I'm used to the shock I get when I tell people I'm in CS. It's not always their fault. Stereotypes exist. Some people are just bigger dicks about it than others and assume I have no clue what I'm doing. Anyways, the look on his face when I showed him what I knew was priceless. After many large projects using Vim as your sole editor, you learn many things. A few. Also INB4 Emacs. My dad is pretty much a pool pro and this guy challenged him to a game talking hot shit. Well, my dad didn't miss one shot and when he sunk all the solids he started shooting the guy's stripes. TL. Dr. My dad is so badass he goes balls deep with other guys' balls. Not me, but on a rugby forum I frequent. A few years ago there was a discussion about scrum techniques and a couple of members were discussing it quite heatedly on a thread. Nobody else was really joined in as most of them knew that one of the participants was a former international forward with over 60 caps. Eventually somebody told the other bloke who he was arguing with. He disappeared and was never seen again. I had just come back from the Ultrazone laser tag national championships when my office announced that we were having a laser tag team building event. The 90s were a wonderful time. In college I ended up walking into a party while a guy was ranting about Americans being self-absorbed and rarely bothering to go abroad or otherwise pay any attention to other countries. I entered the room and he said, "For instance," and turned to me. "When was the last time you or any of your relatives were in a country other than the United States?" I blinked at him and went, "Well, I'm Canadian." Everyone else burst into laughter. I play Star Wars CCG, collectible card game, competitively. Yeah. I know. It's been out of print for like 14 years now. But we still have an active community. A few years back I was playing a pickup game online against a random guy. He was playing a pretty traditional deck and I was playing a deck that at the time looked absolutely terrible on paper, but worked beautifully. The matchup was especially bad for him. And I'm a pretty strong player. As soon as I saw what he was playing, I knew I was going to win. And informed him of this. And I totally destroyed him. He kinda goes on tilt and he's talking shit about my deck. Let's play again. No way will I lose to that pile of trash 2 games in a row. I shrug my shoulders and win handily again. He still insists that my deck is terrible. Then I inform him. This deck just got second at Worlds a couple months ago. Trust me. It's pretty good. Yeah. Well, who played it? The deck looks terrible. I did. Someone told me to go fornicate myself. Idiot didn't know I was practicing for that for years. I'm the boss owner at my company and mostly just work in the office. Every year we have a Christmas party in the workshop with all of our rough, tough outside workers. Lots of beer, etc. One year my partner hired a pool table and all the guys who played in the bars every weekend were surprised that I wiped their asses. Next year it was a ping pong table. Same thing. The third year a table soccer game. If we ever bring in a pinball game I'll have the quadrilla. PS I wasted my youth. Sort of. I had a wheel break off my Honda Pilot SUV. Honda USA told me over the phone that the wheel is held on by a part that was designed to wear out under normal operating conditions. They claimed that this wasn't a manufacturing defect. I'm a mechanical engineer. I know that wheels aren't designed to break off of cars. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.